Welcome, friends. Welcome to Bonnie's Books. Today we're going to be reading and talking and singing about mittens because it's cold for mittens, isn't it? So, see these pretty little mittens? Yep. And they actually are going to go along with the book that we're going to read too. Okay. This tune is to Wheels on the Bus. The mittens on my hand. Wait a minute. Oh my goodness, I got to get them on first. Here we go. The mittens on my hands keep me warm, keep me warm, keep me warm. The mittens on my hands keep me warm all winter long. Okay, here is a mitten, a snug and fuzzy one. See, you can see there's fur in there. And then here are two mittens, a colorful sight, one for my left hand and one for my right. Now, because of the camera being switched, it's going to be one for my left hand and one for my right. Here are our mittens, as soft as can be. A warm pair for you and a warm pair for me. Yay! Okay, now we're going to read The Missing Mitten Mystery. And do you know something funny? I'll tell you something funny. This book actually was a mystery because it was lost in the library and I couldn't find it. But guess what? Miss Bonnie bought one. And then, you know what happened? I found it. The Missing Mitten Mystery by Stephen Kellogg. Now what do you see there in that page? Cardinal. I love cardinals. Okay. Oscar, I lost my other mitten. That makes 5 mittens this winter. I'm in big trouble. Uh-oh. I think he better find his mitten. Let's search every place we played today. We'll start at the hill where we rode Ralph's sled. Oh, that sounds like fun, sliding down hills. Okay, let's see. Is it there? Do you see a mitten? Do you see a mitten? I don't. Here's Ralph's boot, but there's no mitten. See Ralph's boot? How did Ralph walk home without his boot? I'll look around the castles we built with Ralph and Herbie and Ruth. That was fun. Look at the castles. See them? Okay, so they're looking around there. Did they find it? Here's Ralph's other boot, and Ruth's sock, and Herbie's sweater. Oh my goodness. How did they go home? I bet they were freezing. But there was still no mitten. Oscar, you found it! Wow! A flying mitten! Was it his mitten? Let's look a little bit more closely. Oh, it's only a bird, a very pretty cardinal. I wonder if he stole my mitten to make a snuggly nest. See? No, he's too small to carry off a mitten, but an eagle could do it. See the eagle? He could do it. Maybe an eagle took my mitten to keep his baby's head warm. Okay, guys, you gotta notice this. Do you see that eagle? He is smiling. I love pictures. Do you think my mitten got tired of being a mitten? Maybe it just slipped off my hand and hopped away. Here are no mitten tracks, but here are some mouse tracks heading toward the woodpile. Could that mouse be using my mitten for a sleeping bag? What do you think? Or maybe he'll wear it next Halloween and be a mitten mummy. Let's go see if I dropped my mitten while we were making the snowman to surprise Miss Seltzer. Now, Miss Seltzer, she says, I haven't seen your mitten, Annie, but why don't you look in the garden where you were making snow angels? Oh, now that sounds like fun. Finding missing mittens is hard work. It would be easier to grow new ones. Let's try planting the other mitten right here in the garden. Next spring, when the snow melts, a little mitten tree might sprout. What an awesome idea. Miss Seltzer and I would take good care of it all summer long. In the fall, we pick ripe mittens. We used to have a mitten tree at Jeffersonville branch. But you know what? It wasn't quite like that. You didn't grow them. People made them or donated them. Then I'd give mittens on Christmas, which is exactly what we did. We gave mittens to people who couldn't afford ones, so no one would be cold. And mittens on birthdays, and mittens on Valentine's Day. That is a lot of mittens. Oscar, it's getting dark and it's starting to rain. We'll never find that mitten. Come inside, Annie. I made some hot chocolate for us, and I've got a biscuit for Oscar. I think he's upset because he couldn't find his mitten. I wonder where it went. Look, the rain is melting the snowman. But what is that spot in his chest? Gracious! Your snowman has a heart. See it? My mitten is the heart of the snowman. Now, is that the coolest book ever? I just thought that was so cute. Yay! That's a Miss Bonnie thumbs up. Okay. One Mitten by Christine O'Connell George. One mitten. See one mitten? Yellow and bright, fits on my left hand. Or my right. See? Fits on my left hand or my right. One mitten can wave a mitten hello. Hello. See? One mitten can make a shadow show with shadow shapes of a mitten whale and a slow, slow mitten snail. Snail, snail. One mitten is a hat for a rooster's head, or a very small mitten bag bed. See? One mitten is a mitten flag. Hold still, Daisy. Wag, Daisy, wag. Oh, no, wait till you see this. Wag, Daisy, wag. And he wags it right off his tail. One mitten gives my sleepy cat a kitten soft, one mitten cat. And under the cat, do you see under the cat? There's some yellow fuzz. I wonder what that is. Can you guess? Oh, my other mitten! Yay! So that's where it was. It was under the cat. Two mittens can clap, flap mitten wings, and make mitten ears. Yay! Lots of two mitten things. Yay! Two mittens windshield wipe the frosty glass. It's snowing outside, covering up the grass. Two mittens make binocular eyes, and two mittens wave mitten goodbyes. Goodbye. Then one mitten, yellow and bright, holds my friend's hand, warm and tight. Aww. Two friends with mittens were ready to go, skipping mitten warm into the snow. 'Cause mittens do keep your hands warm in the snow, don't they? Yay, that was a good one too. Okay, now today we are going to read Jan Brett's The Mitten. Okay, now we have read some of Jan Brett on Miss Bonnie's books. Okay, so one thing we have to remember about Jan Brett is she's a great illustrator as well as a storyteller. And she tells the stories sometimes in the margins. So you can tell what's happening next in the margins. It's like a big clue. So here we go. All right. Once there was a boy named Nicky who wanted his new mittens made from wool as white as snow. Okay, you see Nicky? Let me see. There we go. Let's see. At first his grandmother, Baba, did not want to knit white mittens. If you drop one in the snow, she warned, you'll never find it. But Nicky wanted snow white mittens, and finally Baba made them. After she finished, she said, when you come home, first I will look to see if you are safe and sound, but then I will look to see if you still have your snow white mittens. So off Nicky went, and it wasn't long until one of his new mittens dropped in the snow and was left behind. See, she's going off, and there he is climbing the tree. You see his mitten? A mole, tired from tunneling along, discovered the mitten and burrowed inside. It was cozy and warm and just the right size, so he decided to stay. Okay, do you guys notice in the margin, something in the margin? It's a rabbit. You see the rabbit? Let's see. A snowshoe rabbit came hopping by. He stopped for a moment to admire his winter coat. It was then that he saw the mitten, and he wiggled in, feet first. The mole didn't think there was room for both of them, but when he saw the rabbit's big kickers, he moved over. So now there's a mole and a rabbit in that mitten. Next, a hedgehog came snuffling along. Having spent the day looking under wet leaves for things to eat, he decided to move into the mitten to warm himself. The mole and the rabbit were bumped and jostled, but not being ones to argue with someone covered with prickles, they made room. As soon as the hedgehog disappeared into the mitten, a big owl, attracted by the commotion, swooped down. When he decided to move in also, the mole, the rabbit, and the hedgehog grumbled, but when they saw the owl's glinty talons, they quickly let him in. See the big owl? Wow, it's huge. How does he fit in there? But they made room. Up through the snow appeared a badger. He eyed the mitten and began to climb in. The mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, and the owl were not pleased. There was no room left, but when they saw his diggers, they gave him the thumb. They moved over for him, too. It started snowing, but the animals were snug in the mitten. A waft of warm steam rose in the air, and a fox trotting by stopped to investigate. Just the sight of the cozy mitten made him feel drowsy. The fox poked his muzzle in. And when the mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, the owl, and the badger saw his shiny teeth, they gave the fox lots of room. How did he fit in there? A great bear lumbered by. He spied the mitten all plumped up. Not being one to be left out in the cold, he began to nose his way in. The animals were packed in as tightly as could be. But what animal would argue with a bear? The mitten swelled and stretched, and it was pulled and bulged too many times its size. But Baba's good knitting held fast. The bear. I'm gonna get in that mitten. Along came a meadow mouse, no bigger than an acorn. She wriggled into one space left and made herself comfortable on top of Great Bear's nose. Uh-oh. The bear, tickled by the mouse's whiskers, gave an enormous sneeze. Ah! 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 Phew! The force of the sneeze shot the mitten up into the sky and scattered the animals in all directions. Oh, my. On his way home, Nicky saw a white shape in the distance. It was the lost mitten silhouetted against the blue sky. See his mitten? Do you see the animals all flopped? As he ran to catch his snow-white mitten, he saw Baba's face in the window. Now, do you remember what she said? First, she looked to see if he was safe and sound, and then she saw that he still had his new mittens. And they are left with a question. How did that mitten get so large? That is a great book. I read it every year. Okay, now today we are going to read, well, actually we're going to sing a song. Thank you to Jan Brett's website. We have a mitten, and then we also have all the characters that go along with the mitten. And the great thing is that if you stop by the library, you will get a mitten for yourself to complete with all the animals to go in it and the song that came from Mrs. Jones' room. That's a website online, which is totally cool. Okay, so are you ready? Here we go. I've got to open my mitten up. The mitten in the snow, the mitten in the snow. Help us please so we won't freeze, the mitten in the snow. A mole squeezes in, so you got to find your mole. A mole squeezes in. See the mole? He's going to squeeze in. I need to transfer. Help us please so we won't freeze. A mole squeezes in. What was next? Do you remember? Yep, you're right. The rabbit. A rabbit squeezes in. A rabbit squeezes in. Help us please so we won't freeze. A rabbit squeezes in. Now, do you remember what's next? I'll give you a clue. He's got pokey prickles. Yep, it's the hedgehog. A hedgehog squeezes in. A hedgehog squeezes in. Help us please so we won't freeze. A hedgehog squeezes in. What's next? I'll give you a clue. He goes, hoot, hoot. An owl squeezes in. An owl squeezes in. Help us please so we won't freeze. An owl squeezes in. Next is a dude with a mask. And it's not a raccoon. It's a badger. A badger squeezes in. A badger squeezes in. Help us please so we won't freeze. A badger squeezes in. Next is a fox. An orange fox. A fox squeezes in. A fox squeezes in. Help us please so we won't freeze. A fox squeezes in. Oh, now here's the tough one. The bear. A bear squeezes in. A bear squeezes in. Help us please so we won't freeze. A bear squeezes in. Now the mouse. A mouse squeezes in. A mouse squeezes in. Help us please so we won't freeze. A mouse squeezes in. Now do you remember what happens next? Achoo! The bear says achoo. The bear says achoo. All the animals fly out of the mitten in the snow. Yay! See, you can play that game on your own. Thank you very much for joining me for Bonnie's Books. Until next time.